This is the Bluestreak Technologies 2010 setup video. First, you enter your username and password, then click Login. Go to Controls, Settings Control Panel. The first setting is the records per page for employees. This is the number of records that employees will see per page. Next setting is records per page for customers. This is the number of records that a customer will see per page. Security logs, service call logs, etc. Bulletin colors. This is the color for bulletins for administrators only. This will be posted by administrators and only visible to other administrators. Color bulletins for supervisors and administrators only. These bulletins can be posted by supervisors or administrators and are only visible by supervisors or administrators. Color bulletins for officers. These bulletins can be posted by any employee and are visible by any employee. Color bulletins for client contact logs. A client contact log is when a client makes contact with someone in your company, or you make contact with a client, and you can record the results of that contact. You can also add the results of that contact to the bulletin board for any employee to see. Color bulletins for management feedback. This is when a customer logs in, they're able to leave a message for someone in your company that is then posted to the bulletin board. Color bulletins for customer surveys. You're also able to set up surveys for your customers to see how you're doing or check on your overall satisfaction of the service you're providing. And those surveys will also be posted to the bulletin board. Log handling. Show officers' name to customers. When a security log or service call log or any other type of log is created, that officer's name is added to that log. Yes, if you want the customers to see which officer wrote those entries. No, if you do not. Show service call logs to customers. If a service call log was generated for a particular site, you can allow the customer to see it or not let the customer see that service call log. Parking violation logs. The customer can also see any parking violations that were on their particular site. Officer check-in information. This is when you have a hot spot on a customer site. An employee can pull up, click check-in, and that way we know that the employee was on that particular site. Yes, the customer can see it. No, the customer cannot see it. Client contact logs. Allow the customers to see the client contact logs or don't allow the customers to see the client contact logs. Customer's time format. The customer can view their time format in 12-hour or 24-hour time. For example, if you select 12-hour, a security log that was entered at 3 p.m. will read 3 p.m. If you select 24-hour, that same security log would read 1500 hours. Allow customers to translate the page. At the bottom of the security logs for the customers, they're able to translate it into any number of languages, including Spanish, Russian, Chinese, so on and so forth. Log time is calculated dynamically. When an employee starts their shift at 2100 hours on January 1st and finishes their shift at 0500 hours on January 2nd, if the log time is calculated dynamically, then any entry after midnight will read January 2nd. If the log time is not calculated dynamically, any entry after midnight will still read January 1st. Approve log entries before the customer can see them. If you click yes, the customer will not be able to log in and view their security logs until an administrator or supervisor with permission has approved those logs. Custom online employment application questions. Some of the levels of Bluestreak security allow you to use an online application. In addition to the questions that are already asked, you can ask up to 3 additional questions. Email logs to customers. Yes, if you want to email the logs when an employee submits them. No, if you do not. This will email each particular customer the logs for their particular site. Now please note that if you approve log entries before the customer can see them, the email is automatic, so you cannot approve the email. So if yes is checked here, it does not pair well with yes being checked here. The email address. This is the return address that the customer will see on their logs that are emailed to them. You should put your company's return email address. Sender's name. This should be your company's name. This will go with the return address on any logs that are emailed to your customer. Under miscellaneous, lunch breaks are paid or unpaid. This will help you in the calculation for an employee's time. Calculate employee's time to the nearest 100th hour, 10th hour, quarter hour, or half hour. Allow all employees to access the client contact logs. Yes would mean that if an officer made contact with a client, they could then go back and add that contact into the client contact logs. No would mean that a supervisor with permission or an administrator would be the only people who would be able to add to that client contact log. Show users currently online. No would mean that you cannot see which users are currently online from your main login page. Yes would mean that any employee can see which users are currently online. Administrators only would mean that only the administrators could view who is currently online. Supervisors and administrators only would mean that only supervisors and administrators can view who is currently online from the home page. Allow employees to edit and delete their own entries. Yes would mean that if an employee made an entry, they could go back later and edit or delete that on their own. No would mean that a supervisor with permission or an administrator would have to edit or delete those logs. When you have all your settings, click Enter.